The Donut Bag is brought to you by Penn Highway Marketplace, the marketplace for vintage goods, quality collectibles, and handmade crafts. It's where I get all my sports memorabilia. Go to facebook.com/Penn Highway. That's facebook.com/PENNHWY and mention I sent you. Where are you in? You don't. Oh, you don't know whether you're on the left side or the right side of the screen, right?
Yeah, no, I don't.
It just shows. I was gonna throw a temper tantrum because of what side I was going on. I was going to delete all my Instagram posts and unfollow the Steelers or something because I was so unhappy about I didn't get my way or something like that. Um, gosh, I don't. I, could you imagine your dream is to become a journalist in sports? I don't know. I would love that job. I would love to. I would love to be like this will be a reporter covering the team, and have that be my full-time job. And your job involves checking athletes whether they followed or unfollowed certain accounts, and if they liked or unliked certain posts or something like that. Like I, I just can't believe this is a thing. This is a thing that we have to worry about. Is, oh no, George Pickens, what if he deleted his Instagram posts? One thing that surprised me about that is if you're on Instagram, I think you have to like go to each post and delete it. I don't think you could just like mass delete stuff. So he had to go to every
No.
single post as I select delete. Like that if you have a lot of posts, that could take hours.
Yeah, it does kill me. Like you kind of came out with it right away on your Twitter feed too about, oh no, he unfollowed us and we go crazy. And Tallman kind of took as much as Tallman would do is took a shot today. Hey, it's a pebble in my shoe. Really doesn't matter. And honestly, I can't imagine whoever asked the question. I mean, you gotta ask the question. I understand the job. But like the last thing he's worried about right now is what that guy's doing on social media. Unless he's buck naked, or
Right. Taking off his
um,
clothes and dancing like Antonio Brown did.
right, or like throwing fries at somebody at McDonald's. I mean, and getting arrested. I mean, I don't think Mike Tomlin really concerns himself too much with what goes on. And
The funny thing is, if it was the NBA, if the NBA is like, if an NBA player is slightly unhappy, they request a trade and like they're traded immediately. If an NFL player is unhappy, it doesn't matter. It's like, oh, too bad. Go do your job, bro. Especially if you're on a rookie contract.
right, I think it's like we have Antonio Brown itis because Antonio gave us so many good years of ridiculous, insane crap, and he still continues to do so. That anytime these guys do, they got caught up with what everything Juju did there for a while, and yeah, honestly, it's getting a little old. I mean, yeah, players are going to say stuff on Twitter. I mean, I thought if there was anything interesting, when Pat Narduzzi kind of threw the players under the bus a little bit a few weeks ago, they came to Twitter and they didn't say a lot other than, kind of disappointed or whatever, just little things here and there. But, that to me is a little bit more one-on-one reaction when players are reacting to a coach and kind of calling them out there. But he had to answer for that. But I mean, other than this other stuff, I don't think Mike Tomlin really concerns himself with who Antonio or who Antonio Brown, who Pickens is really following and unfollowing on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or wherever it is.
And then, like a couple days after he did all that, George Pickens said, "That wasn't about football. That was about something else." Like somebody had a somebody had a great line. It's like, so when you posted "free me," does that mean out of your cheese of the month club contract or something, or what did he have? Did he get that Columbia Records by 12 records for the price of $1 or
Yeah,
something?
Columbia House. Yeah, right. Yeah, for 10 cents, you get 20 CDs. Yep. Oh, yeah.
I got so
Yeah,
many
I always
CDs
like,
from that thing.
when we get to adulthood and we're kind of transitioning to the fact that, maybe we left our single male studio apartments and now you're married and you're going through your CD collection. You're like, why the hell did I buy the Simply Red album? Oh, I guess I paid $5.99 for that. Got 10, 20 CDs.
Right,
But I got
right.
Simply Red, A New Flame, big
I
album there.
I still have all my CDs and I'm thinking, what was this? What was I thinking? Yeah, what why do I have these? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially from the 80s and 90s. My
And
goodness.
if I remember right, like it got a little more advanced. You used to like check it with a box, but for a while, remember like it came and they had like the little stamps or like about the size of your thumbnail, and you would like pull each stamp on it, put it on
Oh
the thing, and then
yeah.
send it back in. And yeah, that was those were the good old days, man. Now you can't even find a Sam Goody or a Record Mart or
Nah,
National
now
Record
now
Mart
forget
or
about it. Forget it. Yeah. That's
yeah.
why like if you have CDs, you need to keep them because they just don't make up they literally don't even I don't even think they make them anymore. So but
No.
what they don't also make is quarterbacks like Kenny Pickett, who are absolutely horrible for 3 quarters and then awesome for 1 quarter. And then and Tomlin was asking about that. Someone said, "Well, Kenny's been awful for 3 quarters." He's like, "Yeah, oh yeah, let's talk about that last quarter." Like, I, I, I somebody had a great post uh, the other day that yeah, Kenny Pickett's awesome, but also the defense is holding the other teams to like, under 17 points this whole time. So it allows Kenny to be awesome for that final quarter and do something. But it's just I've said so many times it's not sustainable, but they keep doing it, so maybe it is. I don't know.
It's both fun and infuriating because I mean, can we really sit here tonight or the last couple nights and bitch too much? Right, they're 5-3. They're in the playoffs right now at the end of today. I know we're at basically almost the halfway point. So first half of the season, not bad. Um, 5-3. They're ranked 28th offensively, 11th defensively, almost top 10 defense and a bottom 5 offense. But yet here they are, where you want them to be. And this is where I had them. I thought they would be a better 5-3 team. Like when I look at some of the other 5-3 teams, I feel like they're still a little better than we are, maybe because of the offensive output, whatever it may be. But and we one thing we definitely got right to this point, not to pat ourselves on the back. Every team from this conference or the AFC North would be in the playoffs right now. All 4 teams. And
We
we talked about
predicted.
that. And you look
We
at that 5-3 record, Joe, and 2 of those wins are against division opponents. So if they keep finding ways to beat the Ravens and the Browns and the Bengals, who knows?
it
They're
is
not going to sneak in; they're going to be in.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Baltimore 7-2, and then every other team is 5-3. This isn't a situation where every team is like kind of over 500. They're 2 games over 500 halfway through the season. That is very impressive. And yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see how things shake out. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean,
I don't.
that Titans game was kind of in a microcosm of what the season's about. They kind of Will Levis looked pretty good, but not good enough where the defense made him or kept him at bay to not really be a huge factor. Not like the week prior where he had 4 touchdowns and whatnot. In fact, their total offensive output was 340 yards, and the Steelers was 326 yards. So right there, in line with, kind of offensively the same that the Titans did, but the difference really in that game was the defense and Kenny Pickett in the fourth quarter. And yeah, I know Kenny Pickett in the fourth quarter is great. All I'm asking, I'm not poo pooing on Kenny Pickett necessarily, Kenny Pickett fans. I'm just asking, give us 2 of those quarters. Give us a whole damn game of Kenny Pickett in the fourth quarter, and we're going to be really hard to beat.
Well,
Um,
this time we got fourth quarter Kenny and the opening drive. So
right.
we got
Yes.
bookends now.
Yeah, I think all of us Steeler guys or whatever you want to call us, fans, media, podcasters, whatever. Um, that first opening drive, everybody was like at Christmas Day, like, "Oh my God, they scored on the first drive!" Like,
You know what I thought when I heard the Steelers won the toss and they elected to receive? I almost shut the game off right there. I was like, "What are we doing? Oh my God, we lost already! My
everybody was done,
God, another 3-and-out! Dear God!"
right? Yeah, well, it's like
Oh,
5-3 and outs before we get going, but
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't know, and I have to say, at first I kind of thought it was kind of stupid. But I guess I was wrong. Having Matt Canada down the sideline seemed to make a difference. Mike Tomlin has come out and said he will be there for the upcoming game against Green Bay. So who knows? Were they phenomenal? No, but he called a good game. He didn't call a great game, but it was a good game. And here we are, 5-3.
One thing I don't understand is when when Matt Canada is up in the booth, who is he talking to? Obviously, he's talking. I'm sure he's talking to Tomlin. I'm sure he's talking. I don't know if he talks to all the other coaches. I'm sure, man. I assume he's talking to Pickett. I don't know. I don't know who he talks to. But when he's down on the field, he could talk to everybody. This is like the difference between working from home and working in the office. When you're in the office, you could talk to other people and and have conversations and stuff. And when you're working from home, you could just message each other on Teams or Slack or whatever. I don't know. It does seem like a whole other dynamic, and I don't know. I don't know. Now, one thing I heard was when Kenny Pickett was at Pitt, he really liked that the offense coordinator was down on the field with him. So
Yeah.
maybe this was a thing. I thought it was this is just my guess that they kept asking him, hey, you should come down to the field. He's like, no, 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 I'd rather be in the booth. It's like, bro, you don't have you don't,
Yeah.
you have no leg to stand on here. You barely have a job. So, why don't you get down on the field here, buddy?
Right. If they ask you to wear, one of those giant shark costumes, you should
Right, you're
try
gonna
it.
do it.
Whatever it may be, you need to try. But no, and I don't know the stats to say what's normal, not normal. But I'll one of the guys that I kind of follow, a guy I wish we had, and I think I'm pretty sure you'll see as a head coach next year. Eric Bieniemy is doing pretty good with a Washington Commanders offense that's but he's getting a lot out of them. All those years with the Chiefs, he's right there in the sidelines, right next to Andy Reid. I think it needed something happened, and I'm not saying that definitively made a difference, but I think it did. So we'll see if that continues to go this way against the Green Bay team that is beatable. So again, we said that about the Titans. It's a beatable game. Do I think Steelers are going to win? I don't know. What Steelers team is going to show up? This Packers offense, I don't think is as talented as the Titans offense. So I'm thinking the Steelers have a very good shot at beating Green Bay.
We all thought, or we're all debating, is Kenny Pickett actually the guy? And that's a legitimate debate, but they're also saying the same thing in Green Bay. Like, is Jordan Love the guy? We had our little succession plan. We went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. Okay, ready for the next guy to go play another 16
Yeah.
years. Ha ha
But
ha. Like, there's only one little component of that. The guy actually has to be good. So
right.
we'll we
Yeah.
don't know. It's
And it
been
feels like Jordan Love's been there for 11 years. But yeah, I mean,
he kind of has, yeah.
but I think Kenny Pickett has a higher pedigree and is a better quarterback. But it's we'll see. I think the other thing too is, um, okay, so we kind of downplayed how big was George Pickens, the media stuff. Okay, so you downplay it, but there is also that flip side that there is something there. I mean, he only had one catch Thursday. It's obviously not clicking. That where that Kenny and the Pickett and Pickens matchup or magic was doesn't seem to be there right now. And I don't know. I don't want to place the blame, Joe, but it seems like I think it's a little bit more on Pickens right now, the attitude and the frustration. And when you're like that, how can you focus?
Okay. Okay. Now, one thing I did hear, you can kind of see it in plays. When the play isn't going to Pickens, he kind of takes it off. He makes
Yep.
it very obvious that he's not the target. You can't do that, dude.
No.
You got part of being a teammate, part of being part of the team is you got to be there all the time, even when it's not coming to you. And that's, I mean, okay, we were all 21 at one point. We were, none of us were,
Right.
perfectly mature or something like that. But you got to be more mature than that.
Yeah, and he had a
Um,
track record as a Georgia, but and I'm not trying to be old school Yinzer here, but I always remember, and I had a chance. We talked about this, I think, a few years ago or last year at some point in your podcast. I had a good chance to work with Franco Harris a lot through some Penn State engagements and alumni fundraisers and stuff, and enough to say, hey Franco and hey Darren, and it was a good thing. And but Franco always talked about for the immaculate reception. He remembered go to the ball. It was something that was instilled by him at Penn State, by Joe Paterno and the staff there, and had Franco given up.
Exactly. What if Franco took the play off? They would have never
Right.
happened.
He didn't take the play off. He went to the ball, so to speak, and look what happened. And I'm not saying that any of these plays were the immaculate reception but yeah, man, you can't take the ball off. I agree. The attitude's awful. And you're just not helping yourself and you're not helping the team. And right now, Kenny Pickett needs as much help as he can get. And I'm not saying that because he's, anything he's doing wrong, but hey, if he's going to catch fire, be there with him. Either get in with him or get the hell out. I mean, get Allen Robinson. I don't know what it is, but right now, if you're going to start churning and Kenny's starting to look like he might be picking things up a little bit better, things might be coming together for him because Broderick Jones had a great game Thursday. So protection's been a little better. Kenny needs that too. But Broderick Jones looked fantastic on Thursday, and he's starting to look like, these last few games, like the first round pick, he was worth getting.
So that was the other big thing that happened before the game, that Broderick Jones was going to start. And we found out it wasn't because of injury to Chooks. It was because he did something. I don't know what. I don't know what terrible crime Chooks and Cora for, but to me, it feels like Wally Pipp taking a day off and Lou Gehrig coming in. I mean,
well, he can't run. I mean, Chooks just can't run the trap like Broderick Jones can. And I'm not saying, Chooks is whatever. It's just when you are in that kind of a stratosphere, like you kind of look like a professional wrestler with shoulder pads going out there and you got speed, you can run that trap better and he can just do it better. And I think a lot of people are missing the fact that as crappy as we've been on the offensive line, guess what? 0 sacks allowed Thursday. 0 sacks allowed. Moving in the right direction.
And the running game looked much better.
Given Harris, Najee 16 carries, 69 yards. Looked nice. Looked nice. I thought I would love to see that kid get like 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. I would be over the moon.
I would love if they just, and I know that's what they want to do, is just have that strong running game. Now, another thing I've heard is that Matt Canada actually deserves a lot of praise because in the Titans game, he did a lot of things that are not the opposite of what they were doing, but they were not the same tendencies. They weren't so predictable. They were running from like the not the shotgun formation, but they were running from different formations. They were trying different things. And I think, unfortunately, I think part of the game plan was, okay, George Pickens is being doubled. He's getting all the attention, and rightfully so. Well, that opens it up for Deontay and Allen Robinson and Hayward and the running
Darnell
backs and
Washington.
stuff like that. Darnell Washington got a catch, for God's sake. That was, my goodness. We both, when we saw that, we're like, oh my God.
I even tweeted you. I was like, Joe, like, we did it. We did
it. We did it.
We didn't do it. But I mean,
what did he got? One catch?
Yeah,
one catch.
Yes.
One target, but
I'm fully expecting 2 on Sunday.
Oh boy! The ground might open up if that happens.
No, the stats kind of prove you're right there, Joe. I mean, they went 6 for 12, 50% conversion on 3rd down, where the defense held the Titans to 3 of 13. So that's a nice balance. Now, maybe the Steelers convert 2 or 3 more of those and go 9 for 12 or 8 for 12. You're looking at maybe a higher score. Maybe it's 23-10, whatever it would have been. But yeah, hey, if they're going to limp along and keep winning games, okay. If we're looking at this at, a week or 2 before Christmas and they're sitting there at 7-3 or 6-4 or 7-4, whatever it may be, I'm still going to be fairly happy at this point.
Yeah. And if people say, well, they're not really good, I mean, who'd they beat? They beat the Ravens, who are really good. They beat the Browns, who are pretty good, and those are division foes. So it's not like they don't have any quality wins. It's not like it's all against the Rams or something.
Right. Boy, that would suck having to play the Rams every week. I tell you though, the Bengals are hot right now. I think the Bengals are the hottest team in the division right now. They're looking tough, Joe. So, yeah, they got their work cut out for them. But from what I saw Thursday against the Titans team, it's been on the rise. They did pretty good. Definitely, I'd give them a B plus overall. I mean, maybe even higher grade if they scored a little bit more, did this or that. But yeah, overall, not bad. And again, it's not what you and I've been asking for. We still would love to see that 35-10, 38-14, kind of a
Yeah,
convincing win. And we just
yeah,
haven't gotten that yet. And man, when we do, it's going to be great.
yeah. Just a game where you're just pounding it down their throats, and that's imposing their will, matriculating down the field, and just making it easy so that the defense doesn't have to do all kinds of heroics to stay in the game.
Yeah.
Because hey, yeah, they won, but they almost lost that. Will Levis almost
Yeah.
almost did it. Unbelievable. My
Yeah.
goodness, did he look good,
He did.
man.
And I think that's where you get some of the other stuff too. Like, I get it. CJ Stroud looked phenomenal. He's progressing faster than Kenny Pickett. Will Levis, in 2 games, mind you, is progressing pretty quickly. And, I think that's the thing. It's like, well, we like Kenny. We want him to do better, but he's not, so we're kind of pissed. Or the other all idiots that are like, they're just hating on Kenny to hate on him, which you're stupid if you're doing that. But no, hey, you're right. If we can see a couple Kenny, Will Levis type games, man, this team could be really dangerous.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And
a couple things too that need to come into play that I didn't. Pickens has got to come around. I don't know if someone needs to have a talk with him. I don't know what it is. And the penalties, granted, the refereeing was not great. I mean, actually, the officiating across
oh
the
my
league has
God, it
been
was
atrocious
horrible.
the last couple weeks.
So
But
bad.
hey, they had 10 penalties for 80 yards. You can't. You're not going to come back around and beat the Ravens or the Browns or the Bengals if you got 10 penalties. It's not going to happen. We don't have the offense right now to overcome that. So we kind of got lucky in that department, but they got to curb the penalties.
Yeah, yeah. One more thing about Pickens. Some of the people were saying, he's kind of right. He has a point. I mean, but still,
Yeah.
if you're gonna complain on a game where you only got 2 targets, one of those targets was a touchdown that he screwed up.
Yep.
He I don't know what he was doing, but instead of doing a toe tap, he did
How?
nothing. And my goodness,
Oh,
I agreed with Le'Veon Bell. Me and Le'Veon Bell are buddies now, and I hate. He's the reason I did this podcast, by the
yeah.
way, because I was so
Yes.
angry about him. But Le'Veon Bell tweeted, "Where's Tony Totap when you need him?" Like, he's right.
Yeah, I can't. The only thing I could think of in that situation, again, we're sitting here, we don't have the helmet on, but he must have thought he had more room than he did. But at any rate, and if that's the case, okay, I'll give you that. But you got to drag the toe. And when you look at that, I think I posted something about that too. I mean, he had a hell of a lot of time and a lot of space to just drag your toe, just drag it, dude. And man, yeah. So it's those things like that add up, and I don't know whether it's a mix of he's disappointed himself, he's just not liking where it's at. But we kind of thought about this in the beginning of the year with the podcast that it's not going to take long for him to start getting a little pissy if they don't start picking it up, and that's now happening. And I'm not saying we've called that, but it's happening, and it really needs. I don't know what you do. I mean, if you throw him 7 passes next week, on the first quarter, are you appeasing him? I don't know what it is. Tomlin's
I
never
think
going to do
it's.
that.
I think that's what they're going to do, and I think that's what they need to do. Force him the ball, get him involved. We're basically talking about not another Antonio Brown craziness, but Antonio Brown was like that before he got crazy. He basically just wanted the ball. He wanted those stats. We had that ridiculous 5 catches, 50
Yep.
yards streak, which just got completely made up just to make him happy.
Yeah,
Eh,
because then it started impacting him as Ben's relationship and the other receivers' relationship, and a lot of that. And some people even attributed, Martavius Bryant's inability to get along with something like that. Who, by the way, tried out for the Cowboys today. Can you believe
Yeah,
that? After
yeah,
4 years, was it 4 years? He's
yeah.
back allowed, and I guess for something like that, I just say, good luck to that kid, because he was another
He's
kid
been
that
through
was
a
sort of,
lot.
man, if
I,
he could have just panned out, he had all the physical attributes and just, didn't work up here. And that's
There,
what I worry about Pickens. I mean, you're right, Joe. I mean, maybe that's what you need to do is get him involved early and often in this offense and try to get them back together. And maybe you're saying that maybe people could say you and I are suggesting to placate him or baby him, and maybe we're suggesting that. I don't know what else to do
yeah.
because whatever they have been doing or what's going on is not working these last 2 to 3
It,
weeks.
it has to be hard if you're a wide receiver because so much is out of their control. They need the stats, especially someone like Pickens, who is not drafted in the first round
Right.
and who's not making, I don't know what kind of money he's making, but it's not that great. And he's
Rookie contract.
depending
Yeah.
on, he's on that rookie contract. That's not that great. He needs those stats. He needs those numbers, and it's out of his control. He could do whatever he could do. He could run the greatest route ever. He could be completely wide open if the quarterback doesn't see him or throw him the ball or throw it right. He doesn't catch it, and that has to be so frustrating that so many things are out of his control. But he gotta
Yeah.
grow up. That's
You
not a
do.
good look.
You do. And you hope just maybe there's somebody on the team right now kind of trying to take him aside and say, hey, look, kid, here's what we're going to do. And that's what my hope for. I hope this Sunday, obviously, for the win. But I'd love to see him get back on board with Kenny and get a good cadence down there. But I think the other bad thing that did come out of Thursday's loss, losing Holcomb's going to suck. That's a big loss to our interior. And the injury is gruesome. It's one of those ones I saw the first time. I don't want to go back and see it again. Out for the year, and just kind of same thing with Kirk Cousins. Just unfortunate, and that's it. And boy, he was really coming along. I thought he was one player that started out pretty good, but kept getting better each game to the point where he was really starting to be a force on that defense, kind of overshadowed by Highsmith and Watt. But yeah, and you see how Joey Porter Jr. is coming on. So defensively, they were really coming together, and I think they still are. But losing Holcomb hurts. It's going to hurt against the run. It's going to hurt on the interior.
He's very underrated. He was having a very good year. All the inside linebackers are light years ahead of what we've had in previous years.
Yeah.
In inside linebacker. So all I could say is Quan Alexander, Roberts, there, and then Mark Robinson. Okay, step on up, come on down. Let's see what you got. He's supposed to be a good run stopper. Let's see how you are in coverage, because now's the time to find out.
Yeah, no kidding. And well, you know what? He had a great tackle on Derrick Henry there in the third quarter. Henry actually broke the block and broke out of the hole, and one of those classic, like, it was going to be a 30 or 40-yard gain because he picked up steam and he planted him. Just classic 2 arms and planted him, and he got up and did a dance, and he should have, because not many guys get Derrick Henry like that on the ground. So yeah, that tackle alone gives me some hope going into Sunday.
Yeah, and Joey Porter Jr. Oh my goodness. I'm loving this dude. I'm telling you, call him blankets. It's all he does. He's or sticky or something, because he just sticks to the wide receiver. Call him Velcro or something, because he sticks to the wide receiver, and he's apparently he asked, I want 10, I want DeAndre Hopkins. So you say, I want to take the best guy and neutralize him, and he did.
Yeah, I don't, other than the development of some of the other young players, but yeah, he looked good. We talked about Broderick Jones earlier. So some of these things that we saw in preseason, I thought, are starting to come to fruition. And, that was one of the things that I remember, the cornerback that we brought in from the Vikings there. He asked about his name is escaping me for some reason.
Darius Rush.
Yeah, no. Patrick Peterson.
Patrick Peterson. Yeah.
But Peterson said about Joey Porter Jr., this kid's going to be good. He's going to be better than good. And took us a little time, but yeah, he's showing it. And a lot of reasons to be optimistic, I think, watching a couple of those guys play, those two in particular.
This is amazing that you have, this draft class that we were all saying is very good. And so far they are. Broderick Jones is finally playing and starting, and everything's looking good there. Joey Porter Jr. is finally starting, looking really good. Keanu Benton's looking really good too. Darnell Washington caught a pass. Hey, Herbig is contributing too.
Yes.
So looking very good for the rookie class, and they're really starting to. That's a big help. And
Yep.
yeah, and even Levi Wallace had a pretty good game. So that I think that's just what they needed. Patrick Peterson is what he is. He's
15
old.
seasons. I mean, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he's doing what he's doing in there, and that's what I mean by okay, you're doing that, but I'm hopefully he's one of the guys also pulling Pickens aside, saying, "Hey, look, kid, I saw this, saw that," and that's what you can hope for, and because I think he's if he catches fire like he can. We talked about last year how him and Pickett over the last 7 games of the NFL regular season last year, they had the highest QBR wide receiver rating in the league over the last 7 weeks. That's not just a stat that's BS or kind of no. I mean they were tight. They were finding that cadence. I need to find that again. But here's the thing, and again, I'm not trying to say it's not Kenny's fault, but it really isn't. I think Kenny's out there doing what he's got to do. You got to meet him halfway. You got to get your head back in the game. You got to get refocused. And so, I mean, that's another thing. If we get those two firing, along with these other guys that are firing right now, they're gonna be tough. I don't think any of us had them going to the Super Bowl. But
Do a wide receiver screen. Do a jet sweep or something with George
they had some sweeps
Pickens.
that worked on Thursday.
Wow, yeah, the jet sweep actually even worked. My goodness.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah. If that's how you need to get them involved, so be it.
And I don't mind if they one of the stat that really killed me, floored me over the weekend, and not I guess didn't floor me, but still, that Dolphins Chiefs game on Sunday morning at like 8:30 a.m. live from Germany. It's none of the Chiefs receivers, none of them have over 20 receptions so far this year. And when you think of what Mahomes does and how he does it, you sit there like, really? I mean, I know Kelsey's going to be the number one guy, right? But Sky Moore, none of those guys have anything more than 20. So I don't care let's get off Pickens for a little bit. I'd like to see Miles Boykin step up a little bit, get him some more plays. Darnell, we talked about. Allen Robinson could step up a little bit. I know he's
spread it around. Yeah.
Spread it around. If Kenny Pickett's out there and we're in a 4 passes to Robinson, 3 to Pickens, 2 to Deontay, 5 to Muth, whatever it may be, and we're winning games, then hey, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So if Pickens is going to continue being this way and not getting on the same page with Kenny, then start spreading the ball around.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have a good feeling about this game with the Packers. I think it's just not the Packers' year. I don't know. I think it's still too early to see whether Jordan Love is a bust or not. I'm guessing
he's had some games where he's looked good, but unlike Kenny, I mean Kenny, I don't think Kenny's had his moments, but for the overall, Kenny still had some good moments in almost every game except maybe the 49er game and the Jacksonville game was quite a struggle. But Jordan Love he looked good in those first 3 games. He's really struggled since. Just not on the same page with anybody right now. And that's not good when you're going against this defense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just,
I mean, if he's playing like a rookie, what Steelers do to rookies, oh boy. Yeah.
I mean, they had a pick. They had 4 sacks. They did really well on third down efficiency. I mean, holding those guys to only 3 third downs out of 13 tries. We could do a podcast episode alone on how well the defense is playing. So, that's just where you wanted that offense to meet them in the middle. And I think you saw a little bit of that Thursday. And now we just want that offense to not only meet them in the middle, but let's take it one step further. And I think it's kind of close. And that might be a thing too, Joe. I mean, it's kind of like something you do in work, right? I've been in sales and marketing for longer than I care to admit on here. But, if you ever have a good week where you get a couple clients together and you make that sale or you make that commitment, you form a partnership, you're feeling really good. So let's 2 good weeks back to back. That's exactly what they need. So, hey, maybe Kenny goes and throws 2 touchdowns this weekend. It'd be great, and that's the encouraging sign you want to see is keep building. Because we forget, maybe we are all a little too hard on. This is a young team. There's a lot of room for growth. Kenny's a young kid. Well, youngest could go, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
give him room to growth. Give him room to grow.
Yeah, Sorry, he's not a Hall of Famer already. But I mean, I'd rather have someone that's bad at the beginning of the game and then awesome at the end than the other way around. So
Yeah,
there you go. And
yeah. Well,
even when they were asking Tomlin about it, and he tries to, like he always does, deflect and say poo poo. It's like, oh, let's only talk about the fourth quarter. And he's like, he also said, it's like, yeah, we're working on those first three quarters and have getting them better. So they know it.
this is a town with great fans. I'd put our fan base up against anybody. I really would. I feel like it's us, Dallas, the Packers. We're probably tier A. I think, Browns fans, as much as we make fun of the Browns, their fans are incredibly loyal, incredibly good. Or maybe not B or T with a lot of tier B with a lot of other, like Bills fans are probably tier A. But our fans can be real assholes. Sorry for the language in your podcast. But I mean, Tommy Maddox, right? A nice guy, had a great year, and then we start throwing trash on his lawn. I mean, and I know there's one or two guys that did that, don't represent all of us, but we can be hard on him. And Kenny Pickett's had a lot of sugar thrown his way. Not really sugar, you know what I want to say there, but I'll be good for the kids that may be watching tonight. But he's dealt with it pretty good to this point, and he just keeps on going. So you got to give him kudos to that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, they kind of did this with Ben too. They didn't unleash Ben when he was a rookie, and they kept winning. But it's like it was almost the same thing. It's like, don't make mistakes. We got a great running game. We got a great defense. Just move the ball down the field. And then later on in his career, they unleashed him. So, and to Kenny's credit, he is not throwing interceptions. He's not turning the ball over, which is a huge help.
Yeah, I know that's a great point. I mean, you don't see him out there throwing pick sixes, and I mean, yeah, he's not moving the ball. We are putting a lot on our defense because of his and the entire offense. Really, it's not just Kenny. Inability to get down the field and create plays and score. So, but you're right. It's not like he's necessarily costing us games.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we shall see.
yeah, man. That's a fun thing. I've actually had the pleasure of going to the last couple of Steelers Packers games. It's always a lot of fun. I think it'll probably be a pretty good sellout or close to a sellout because what Steeler Yinzers don't go, Packers fans and that they'll be there totally. So it's gonna be a fun game. Two great fan bases.
I can't say anything about Packers fans as a conflict of interest because I actually own the team. I own the Packers.
Oh, boy, that's right.
I have one share in Packers stock. So
I love it.
and that's the whole reason is just like, oh, I'm an NFL owner. I just like
Yeah,
that technically I'm not allowed to play fantasy football because
yeah.
I could call Jordan Love up and say, hey, I got the Steelers defense in my fantasy, so I need you to really throw a few interceptions. Thanks a lot,
Well,
buddy. So
hopefully he says no problem.
no problem, boss. You're the owner. I gotta do what you say.
No problem. I'm going to throw 3 or 2 doozies to you this
There you go.
Sunday.
I think that's gonna happen anyway, whether I say something or not.
Yeah, yeah, but no. Then, like you said, then I think it's going to be fun getting in this the next couple of weeks because we got some AFC division games coming up, and those are going to be critical. I really feel the fact that they've got 2 wins under the belt. I feel really great about that right now. And if we can continue with that pattern, it's going to be great.
At the Browns and at the Bengals. Oh, that's gonna be interesting. Oh boy. Oh, that's the
It
thing.
really is.
It's like a round robin tournament right now because all these teams, all these AFC North teams are just going to start playing each other and just beating each other up, and it's going to be very interesting.
When we get ready for that Browns and Steelers game, I swear you should throw that Spider-Man meme up, the one where they're pointing at each other, because I mean they're both the same thing. The defense has been tremendous. Offense at times, kind of here
Yeah.
and there. So I mean, you can't convince me that the Browns offense is going to smoke us there. That's going to be a defensive battle in Cleveland. It's going to be a lot of fun. You know, those fans are going to be up for it. They're going to be waiting. They're going to be hostile towards the Steelers. It's going to be good.
Oh, it's what football is all about. It's what sports is all about. Two teams
Yep.
that hate each other in a rivalry game. Oh,
November,
boy.
it's going to be a little chilly. It's going to be
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
The dog masks will be out there and the milk
Hmm.
bones and
Hey,
yeah.
you know that's their Super Bowl. Like
Oh yeah.
they could go 1-16, but if they beat the Steelers in Cleveland, then they're happy as heck.
Yep. Well, let's
So,
take care of the Packers first. So should be an interesting follow up next week.
yep, yep. All right, sir. I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
You too.